Alright, so we're going to make our first model in Blender, but we need to get the proper size. So we're going to use Manny the mannequin, and we need to export him out. So we'll go to mannequin, to character, to mesh. You want the purple mannequin or the femican, whichever you desire. So click on it and then right click, and then you want to go to asset actions and down to export. Then choose a place for him, which I had already done. I created a folder for mannequin and took him in there as an FBX. Now I'll open Blender and I'm going to create a collection for him with a collection box there. Rename it Manny the mannequin or something like that. We're doing this so we can get the proper scale from Blender to Unreal Engine. So import FBX, go to your file, click on FBX and click on Apply Transform, turn off the animation and import. Once you get him loaded, it takes a little bit to get him to show up. So go over to the world viewer, and I'm going to start turning some of these different levels of detail off. I'm going to get rid of pose, and all of a sudden he shows up, but he's larger than he needs to be. And we don't need all these levels of detail, so we're going to choose one. We're going to delete the rest, get them out of our way. You want like LOD 1 or LOD 0, okay? I believe I went with LOD 0, which is level of detail 0. Alright, now we need to get the proper scale. So an incredibly tall man would be 2 meters. Blender is set up for meters, and Unreal Engine is actually set up on its own scale. And so I just try to get Manny between 1.6 and 2 meters. I'm a tall person, so I usually go full 2 meters. So you bring in that cube that is already automatically 2 meters, and just fit him inside. Hit the wireframe, hit 1 orthographic, and use G, Z to bring the box up to the level line, and then S to scale. Right, once he fits inside the box, you know he's 2 meters. Now that we have that done, we need to make sure that we can't accidentally select him. And so go back over into the world viewer, and we need to add the ability to deselect him. That's the arrow there. Click that on and then turn it off on Manny, and now you can't select him. Alright. Now it's time to set up a new collection and name it. We're building the floor that he's going to stand on. So it's basically a rubber mat area. It gives us a visual cue. So bring in mesh, plane, go into edit mode, put one edge through the center, and then we're going to choose vertices. Get the 2 on the outside left and delete the vertices. Go back into object mode, and we're going to add a mirror modifier. This is going to cut down how much work we have to do. Click on clipping. Then we're going to add a subdivision surface. Make it simple and 1, 1. Alright. And then we're going to add one more subdivision surface and make it 2, 2 and Kamalt Clark. All right, this is going to give us really beautiful results. So go into Edge, put ourselves 2 edge loops through here. You can do that by clicking Control R and then scroll your mouse wheel. Now select all the edges by selecting the first one, and we're going to scale on the SX, and then here I am going in object mode and reselecting on, and then set origin to 3D cursor, and then apply all transforms. Alright, now go back in the edit mode, edge, select one edge, and then holding control, select another one to go all the way around, and then we're going to press EZ to extrude north and south, down, up and down. Now we're going to shade smooth in object mode and go back to edit mode, and then we're going to press E, extrude edges, and then we're going to hit S to scale them out. And we're going to check out our edges, make sure everything looks proper. We're going to vertices and just straighten this one up, GG, to move it along the edge there. All right, and then we're going to hold control. Let's see. Looks like I'm narrating this after the fact, so looks like I'm going to add a material. I want to put a rubber material in here, and you want to make that a little darker color, and put it on dev mode and turn the specular down, roughness up, and then change the IOR to, I believe, 1.55, but I probably need to go check that again. And 1.55, and then let's see, I believe I turned the specular back down because it made it look better. Yeah, that looks like a proper rubber material. Okay, going in object mode, and it's really interesting narrating these after the fact. So edge, select your front edge, and control, holding control, selecting, and then I want to say that we extruded, and then Z, to bring that edge up, probably S to scale out, and then E, Z to extrude down, and then going into object mode just to see how it looks. No. Shade smooth, that's a right click, shade smooth, back in the face mode, and select the face, and then go to the back and hit control and shift D, and then right click to get it back in place, P for selection, and you have 2 new objects. So I'm going to press H and hide the original, and see, it looks a little wonky back there. I don't like the way that looks, and I'm pretty sure I go in and I look and see what needs to be done, and I'm pretty sure that I started this over. So let's see how it goes. And this is part of the process. You know, you gotta, when you select, you gotta make sure that you're on the proper edges so that you get a good extrude and a good copy with the select D. Here I'm just seeing what I can do, pressing F, and then selecting them all, pressing F, and it looks wonky, and I know it, and I'm thinking to myself, I just need to start over. So I think I just delete that. But not before creating a metal to go with. So new material, rename it metal, make it a metal gray, turn metal up to 1.0, specular off, roughness, I think I'm going to 0.2 on roughness, sheen 0. Yeah, that's a good metal material, but again, the geometry in the back is trash, so I know I probably, yeah, delete it. I go back into our original plane by Alt-H and go into edit, and I'm going to look at the geo close and look at my edges, because for somehow I did not choose the proper edges, so I'm going to make sure that I select, I'm very careful about selecting that edge that's a little higher than the lower one, going around, and I'm pretty sure that I press scale to scale it out, so so I can see it more clearly. And then SZ to scale it down, or GZ to grab it and move it down. Now I have a clear view of the faces, and select them with Control click, Shift D, right click, P selection, and go into object mode, hide the matte, and I look at the geo and it looks a million times better. So now I go over here and create the metal material, which I think I already have it. So if you click on this little circular icon here to the side of where I'm clicking metal, if you've already created a mature material, it will be there. But I'm going back through. It's always good to practice making these materials quickly. And there we go. So, of course, I didn't have it selected, so it didn't put that metal on that piece. And so I got to delete that rubber out of there. And now I know that I created it, so I'll click on there and go to metal. And bada boom, bada bing, look what we got. We have a beautiful metal material. Alt-H to bring back the other, and I need to put the rubber back on that piece. So go, have it selected, press the rubber. Yep. Now that looks really good. Got to do a little bit of scaling. Scale it up, S scale it up a little bit. And I know on the sides, you see that red line, that's X. The green line is Y. And right now I'm just making sure that it's larger than the rubber material, so it's on the outside. And I'm just really looking to make sure that it's the proper size before I join them. So I'm getting rid of all the things that are taking away from my view. And see, I can see there's a gap on the sides, right? And so knowing that my X is running through there, which I believe I turned the lines back on, so you can see the XY on the Cartesian map. If I press SX, see, I'm actually right here, I'm joining them, or thinking about it, but SX will bring that in on the sides and not the whole thing. Yeah, turning it on now so I can see my orientation. SX, draw that in on the sides, And yeah, now I can join them by clicking the metal and then clicking the rubber and hitting Control J, and it makes it one object with two materials. And the reason why we put those two materials on there is it makes it much easier later on if we go into substance to have two materials set aside already, and the programs can delineate between the two. Alright, so going into UV editing, actually I know I need to go back to object mode and apply all the modifiers. That's the little wrench on the right hand side, so object, click on the wrench, modifiers, and hit apply all. Now I'll go back into edit mode, select all, hit the little double or UV unwrap, kick this up to 3 or 4.0, I think I went 0.05 there, and then UV pack islands. Alright, I got that done. Save the file. Name it whatever you. Make sure you use naming conventions that will help you the day that you're working on this stuff, because you can amass quite a few blend files before you know it. Alright, go back to layout, and I'm pretty sure that we're about to export, but I usually have this tick where I'll like go back to object and set the origin of 3D cursor, because you want the origin to be at 00 for Unreal Engine. Then apply transforms, export, FBX, find your rename it, find your file on your computer that you're putting all this stuff in. I believe Blender Output is what I named mine. And then you want to click on selected objects, mesh, apply transform, and click off bake animation, export. Alright, now let's just check to make sure that it's there. It is. Alright, going into Unreal. Alright, here's our scene that we've been working on. And control space to bring up the content panel, go to the content, and I'm looking to see where I could put this, but I need to just go back to content, right click, new folder, name it temporary or something like that, click into it, import, go to your file that you set up your Blender output to, click on that, open. Everything should be fine for now. Import, and click that log off for whatever reason, and save all your. Just constantly save it in Unreal Engine, because it can crash quite a bit, and it took a second for this stuff to save, and I think it's because I was recording at the same time, but it eventually saved. And the reason why we're doing this is we want to check to make sure our scale works. We set Manny up in Blender to be 2 meters tall, and we need to make sure that the scale translates into Unreal Engine. So drag your piece into UE, and W to get the transforms, E to rotate, and you just rotate it 90 degrees like that, and then you press play or Alt P, it's got a built-in collision on it, so you need to jump on top of it and really look at it to see if you got the scale properly. Now this is going to be a flying machine, kind of like a stand-up water jet ski, and so he's going to have some controls that is hopefully we can learn how to make his hands grab the controls, and with that trigger then switch the blueprint over to a flying machine. But yeah, now that we know that we have a proper scale on this, that's a good spot for Manny. We can go back into Blender and start working out the rest of our vehicle. And if you do me a favor, like this video, subscribe, please comment. It will help me grow the channel, and it will help the algorithm, help other people find it. If you have any suggestions on how I can make better content, please don't be shy. You know, I like to think that I can take constructive criticism. If you're trolling, you know, whatever. Maybe look at the reason why you feel compelled to troll. But, you know, it is what it is. But if you have something that you want to say that can actually help me a great deal, I welcome it. And see you in the next video.